on fashion accessories and trends. In this unit, we have been looking at accessories that are worn on the body, including those that can be carried in the hand, like bags and purses. In this last module of this unit, we talk about the quintessential fashion accessory, shoes. What began as a simple human need to protect oneself from the elements and to ease movement has today led to an industry that is globally valued over $300 billion, and it is fast expanding. The growing demand for elegant, fashionable and yet comfortable footwear among all age groups is a crucial factor driving the global footwear industry. While the aspiration for premium luxury goods has led to a growth in the market for leather footwear, the need to remain fit and young has propelled the athletic shoes market. Leading companies like Adidas, Reebok, Vans, Timberland, Echo, and Nike, among others, are constantly devising new solutions using technology. While designer brands like Jimmy Choo, Salvatore Ferragamo, and Christian Louboutin still occupy a large chunk of the luxury footwear market. In this module, we will discuss the basics of footwear, the various types of footwear, materials used, and their function. We will study the historical evolution of footwear in addition to understanding the components of shoes. We will also list various styles of men's and women's footwear and talk about the foremost brands, designers, and iconic shoe designs in this unit. Let me begin by clarifying what the term footwear really means. Footwear refers to clothing worn on the feet. Yes, you heard it right. Even though footwear comes under the accessory segment, it is considered to be clothing as it is a basic requirement. Footwear includes shoes, sandals, slippers, socks, and stockings. We have once before discussed socks, stockings, and other items of hosiery in the module on small soft accessories. In this module, we shift the onus to shoes, sandals, and yes, slippers. Now, let me try to answer the basic question of what is a shoe? A shoe is a piece of closed footwear that can be a slip-on or worn along with lacing such as this one. A sandal is an exposed shoe style that is held on the foot using straps and a closure. Now this closure could be a buckle, a velcro, or even a tie-up. Styles of sandals could include an open toe and even an open back. Slipper. A slipper is a flat, casual footwear that slips on your feet. It may be lined or unlined and can be worn indoor or outdoor depending on the material and the societal dictates. For instance, in Western countries, slippers are considered to be extremely casual and are mostly restricted to indoor use. But in India and in a lot of other Asian countries, you will see that slipper use is very common even outdoor. Slippers such as your Kolhapuri chappal have been traditionally in use in India since centuries. This is a modern version of one such slipper. While these are the three basic categories of footwear, they all offer protection and safety. Footwear provides comfort and help you fashion or pull together a look. They can add an element of interest or contrast to your ensemble, or they can help you blend in as well when required. There are two more categories of footwear I would like to introduce to you at this moment. The buzzword in the fashion industry at the moment is athleisure. Athleisure footwear is something that we are going to consider next. Initially, athleisure footwear was restricted to sportswear or activewear, and this footwear is inspired by both athletic and leisure elements. But athleisure footwear today includes a wide variety of styles. Hybrid styles such as an uppers of a formal shoe are being combined with soft, comfortable PU soles and heels. You can even find heeled women's shoes in the market that look like a sneaker on top. You can also find sneaker shoes such as this that have embroidery on them, becoming a part of the party segment. Socks such as Skinner athletic socks are available that are foldable like a sock but with the durability of a sneaker. Made out of lycra and waterproof plastic with embedded odor resisting technology, the soles are waterproof as well, preventing the elements from seeping in. Thereby, you can see that the styles are varied. The market is growing exponentially to suit a blending of lifestyles, which is the norm at the moment. Finally, the category of footwear that I would like to discuss today is orthopedic footwear. Now, this might conjure up images of old people or people with injuries wearing ugly looking shoes. But thankfully, it is no longer the case now. Orthopedic footwear includes shoes, sandals and slip-ons that is used to correct and support the structure and mechanics of the foot, the ankle and yes, of course, the entire leg. They are softer than regular footwear and hence more comfortable. They are easy to fasten, well cushioned and have more sizing options. Attributes such as these have made them fan favorites, even among those who do not actually require any orthopedic footwear. Now, orthopedic shoes have removable insoles and they could have seamless uppers to avoid abrasion. Until recently, orthopedic shoes were only available on a made-to-order basis in India. However, at the moment, several brands create stylish, ready-made orthopedic footwear. Now that I have given you an introduction to the various categories and types of footwear that is available in the market, let us take a moment to discuss materials commonly used to create footwear. I would like to bring to your attention Unit 1, where we have discussed materials that are commonly used to make accessories and jewelry. So what are shoes made up of? Yes, leather. Leather is the first material that comes to mind when thinking about footwear. Along with leather, suede and faux leather are also used. Now, if you look back and think of traditional footwear, wood becomes an important material. Natural materials like hemp, straw, raffia and jute can also be used to create casual footwear such as beach footwear. Now, woven fabrics such as canvas, denim, nylon, silk satin, knitted fabrics and even printed cotton such as this can be used to create footwear. Talking about synthetics, polyurethane or PU plays a very important role. Today, you get shoes where the entire sole and the heel is PU molded. Of course, when talking about shoe materials, you cannot forget rubber. Rubber soles are a constant accompaniment in sneakers, canvas shoes and any type of casual shoes. These are all the base materials that are used to create shoes. Along with this, hardware in metal or plastic such as buckles, eyelets and other embellishments are also used. So what are these embellishments? When you visit a shoe store that's close to you, take a walk around the aisles. See what are the embellishments that you can find. Particularly in the women's section, you might find embellishments like ribbons, lace and other fabric accessories. Embellishments made up of metal, wood, plastic, glass crystal, pearls and other rhinestone embellishments are also a big part of shoes, especially in the party wear segment. Now that we have seen various categories of footwear and the materials that are used to make them, it is time to know about the components that make up a shoe, a sandal or a slipper. The sole is the most important part of the footwear as it is the foundation. It provides grip and comfort to the wearer and forms the protective barrier between the wearer and the ground. Now, have you ever thought of a shoe without a sole? It would probably look like this. Soles can be made from different materials, including leather, rubber, polyurethane, and PVC. Soles can be of many layers and can be divided into the outer sole, midsole, and insole. Insole is the interior bottom of the shoe directly under the footbed. Insoles can be made of cellulosic paperboard or synthetic non-woven insole boards. The midsole is the layer between the outsole and the insole. This is used in shoes that require shock absorption. The outsole is the layer that is in direct contact with the ground. Outsoles must provide a good grip and offer durability and water resistance. Here you can see that the outsole has various markings on it. This determines the kind of grip strength that the shoe will provide. Some athletic shoes have spikes embedded in them in the outsole to increase traction. You can usually find them in running shoes. The upper is the top part of the footwear. Now, it may cover the entire foot like this, or it may just be the straps as in the case of a sandal or a slipper. Heel. Just as the sole is important to the footwear, the heel is also equally important. The back portion of the shoe that gives elevation to the foot when worn is called the heel. A well-made heel can increase the height of the wearer. It can improve the balance of the shoe and even alter posture, as in the case of high-heeled stilettos. The portion of the heel that comes into contact with the ground is known as the top piece. A heel tip is a protective piece of metal or plastic found at the bottom of the heel. While most heeled footwear will have a separate heel like this, hybrid shoes might have heels that are fused together along with the sole. These work as a platform, providing support and height to the wearer. The next component that we are going to look at is the vamp. This is the section of the upper that covers the front of the foot and joins the quarter. Quarter refers to the sides of the upper, which cover up to the heel and behind the vamp. The heel section of the quarter is often strengthened with a stiffener. This may help support the rear of the foot. Tongue. In a shoe, the tongue is the panel that is underneath the lacing section of the shoe. It prevents the laces from rubbing against the top of the foot. In continuation, lace. Do you know that the easiest way to change the look of your shoe is by changing your shoelaces? Yes, laces are round and ribbon cords that can be used to fasten shoes that have a lacing system. An aglet is a cap that covers the tips of the lace and keeps the threads from fraying or unraveling. Toecap. The front portion of the upper of the shoe, which adds style, support and strength to the shoe, is called as a toecap. It is a portion that receives a lot of stress due to wear and tear. Toecaps may be of a different material than the rest of the shoe, or they may be of a different color. They may have decorative stitching or broguing on the top like a medallion. Shaft. The upper portion of the boot that covers the ankle and sometimes the leg is called as the shaft. Shank. A shank is a supportive structure between the shoe's insole and outsole. It can be typically found in work boots where it runs underneath the arc of the foot. Straps are lacing or strips of upper that are used to hold the shoe, slipper or sandal in place. Straps can be functional, that is, they can be used for closure, or they can be simply decorative. They can be permanently stitched, that is, fixed on both sides like this, or they can be open in order to provide better fastening. There are several other components in a shoe depending on the style and the variation that is being followed. But I hope that the components discussed here would give you a basic idea on understanding how a shoe looks and how it functions. History and evolution of shoes. Like with every other accessory that we have looked at in this entire unit, even shoes have a long history of how they have been created and how they have evolved over time. This is an attempt to look into a comprehensive history of how shoes have evolved both in the Western world as well as in India. For the sake of simplicity, I would be dividing the Western history into different periods. Let us begin with the prehistoric and the historic period. The need to protect oneself from elements has motivated man to fashion protective clothing and footwear ever since the prehistoric period. While the oldest surviving footwear, that is, rope sandals, discovered date back to over 10,000 years, the oldest surviving leather shoe date back to around 5,500 years. But, surprisingly or not so surprisingly, the early man is said to have worn footwear even 40,000 years ago. The discovery of Ozzy, the glacier mummy, serves as proof that humans possessed knowledge of leather shoe construction with lacing and even the usage of corrugated soles 5,000 years ago. Coming to the ancient period, history notes claim that Egyptians preferred to move about barefoot, carrying their sandals, which were thong-style upturned shoes in case of situations where they might need them. The sandals worn by the poor were made of woven papyrus or palm leaves, and those worn by the rich were made of leather with even gold work on it. Egyptian sheet, gold finger and toe coverings plus sandals were found at the tomb of the three minor wives of Thutmose III. These are quite fascinating to look at. Moving on to the Antiquity period. In ancient Greece, sandals were made of wood, felt or linen and were worn by free citizens to distinguish themselves from barefooted slaves. Phacacium-style boots were worn during sacrificial ceremonies. Sandals were worn by both sexes and fastened in a variety of ways. Straps were both light and elegant, leaving the foot almost bare. While the upper-class women's footwear sandine would be adorned with embroidery, commoners would wear simple wooden sandals. Priests also wore ficas, which was a sandal ornamented with animal figures. Roman footwear, on the other hand, didn't show much difference between the male and the female footwear. The calce were standard outdoor footwear and formed part of the national dress along with the toga. It was a soft leather shoe, a cross between a shoe and a modern-day sandal. Sandals or sandalia such as soli, crepide and sochi were indoor footwear. A Roman soldier would wear a military sandal, the caliga. Only the emperor was allowed to wear red sandals. Moreover, the number of straps on a given sandal served to indicate the military rank of the person who was wearing it. In the Celtic lands, opansy, that is, heelless shoes with a sharply upward curving sole, were the footwear of choice, much like the mortuaries of India. In the Byzantine period, the footwear was very oriental in style, colors and materials, and they did not have heels. Royalty and upper-class men and women wore shoes made up of embroidered silk and decorated them with gold and gemstones. They could be in vibrant hues of green, blue, red, plum, violet, or even simple black, grey and brown according to some sources. Shoes included calf-length boots and jeweled slippers. The softness of the fabric used for the Byzantine footwear allowed for shoes that molded to the shape of the individual's toes. The next period that we can discuss is the Middle Ages and the early modern period. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, espadrilles came to Central Europe from the Pyrenees and became very popular. In Europe, features like lacing, buttons, straps were integrated with the Crocs shoes, which were pointed shoes or polanes as they were popularly known. Today, we might know them as joker shoes. Ranging from a half a foot to over 2.5 feet, the length of the toe served as a striking indicator of the wearer's social status. During the Renaissance period, pointed shoes were swapped with footwear which had duck-billed, wide, squared noses. Heels were developed in the 16th century and worn by women all over Spain, England, France and Italy. These later developed into a form of platform clogs called chopines. By the 17th century, both men and women wore heels. For men, heels offered an increase in height. And for women, along with the increase in height, it also gave them an erotic gait as it changed the posture of the wearer. During the Baroque movement, footwear was made from expensive materials such as velvet, satin, silk, and the shoes could be decorated with flowers, ribbons, and even gemstones. During the Rococo movement, the main focus came on to the buckle and the Louis heels for women's footwear. Modern and, yes, the postmodern period. Men's shoe production also made massive strides during the Industrial Revolution. In the 19th century, the shoe industry revolved around sewing machines, and this led to mechanized mass production. As men began to work in factories, they required practical footwear. Women who stayed at home wore more fanciful type of shoes. At this time, shoemakers began working with combinations of vamp cuts and soles and specifically tailored to fit either the right or the left foot. And then a pair of shoes came into being. In 1851, J. Sparks Hall is said to be the first to design and patent a vulcanized rubber ankle boot. These elastic-sided ankle boots eventually came to be called as the Chelsea boots. Technological breakthroughs shaped shoe history in the 20th century. Chemical leather tanning was introduced and shoes were made more durable than ever before with the use of newly invented shoe polishes. The invention of new synthetic materials and thermoplastic rubbers meant that gluing could now replace stitching. This made the shoes cheaper. Sports shoes, first developed at the start of the century, achieved mass appeal in the 1960s. Shoes became icons in their own right, as they were popularized by actors, royalty, sports stars and musicians. Actress Audrey Hepburn popularized Kitten Heels. The band Beatles popularized Chelsea shoes. And sneakers like Puma Clydes and Air Jordans took the world by storm. The definition of protective footwear has changed considerably since the primitive times, with the footwear constantly evolving. Today, we have shoes for super specialized functions like rock climbing or cycling that offer super grip strength and unparalleled foot support. We have sneakers that sell at $30,000 and sandals that sell at $3 million. This is a small timeline of the history and evolution of footwear in the West. We will now take a look at the Indian evolution of footwear. Apart from hilly and cold regions in India, where footwear is a must, there is a strong culture of going barefoot. Shoes are removed while stepping into a house or places of worship as a mark of both respect and to maintain cleanliness. Both blessings and forgiveness is sought by touching the feet of the elders. In the absence of wearing shoes in everyday life, Indians of the past wore leg ornaments like anklets and toe rings and applied alta and mehendi to decorate their feet. This practice now has become slightly ceremonial, but nevertheless is practiced even today. But this does not mean that footwear was completely absent in India. Religious myths refer to wooden footwear, padukas, worn by gods and royalty alike. Rama Paduka was worshipped as Lord Rama himself in Ramayana. In the later periods, they were worn by saints and sadhus of Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism. In the later periods, the Kushana warriors and kings wore soft padded boots with leather trappings called kapusa. These warriors are said to have brought boots into India. Historical artifacts suggest that these boots were made up of heavy leather and they were at times decorated with patterns. Ceremonial footwear decorated with embroidery and inlaid with precious stones, metals and adorned with, say, bells and tassels were worn by kings and queens in India till even the Nizam period, even after the invasion of the British in India. Mughal and Rajput princes wore curled up, pointed toe mojeries. These are still worn during weddings and festivals along with ethnic attire. They have very well morphed into decorative jutas or jutis as well. Jutas or jutis can be identified by their pointed toe and flat straight sole that does not distinguish between the left and the right foot. Thus, they can be worn and molded to the foot of the wearer. Other ethnic footwear in India include the Kolhapuri chappal, the Pula chappal and the Shantiniketan chappal. All of these are slippers or slip-ons. Kolhapuri, also known as Kapashi, Bakal Nahi. Kolhapuri chappals are open-toed sandals with a T-strap and are tanned locally by using vegetable dyes. Modern-day Kolhapuri chappals include trims such as braided straps, embroidery, cords and even colourful pom-poms. Shantiniketan chappal. The Shantiniketan slipper is an embossed leather vegetable tanned open-toe slipper. These are also now commonly hand-painted or dyed using chemicals. Pula. Made by Pahari people in Himachal Pradesh. Pula is made from the grass of shale or bhang. These vibrant, lightweight chappals are made up of braided shale stitched together with a cloth lining, and they have beautiful, colourful needlework on top. Types of shoes. There are a plethora of shoes available in the market today to suit your every mood, whim and fancy. And as such, they can be classified in a variety of ways. This section is going to classify different types of shoes worn by men, women and sometimes by both. Men's shoes. Men's shoes can be categorized into four: dress shoes, casual shoes, athletic shoes and orthopedic footwear. Since we have already discussed what comprises of orthopedic footwear, we would be only talking about the other three categories here. Dress shoes. Now, you must have heard this word dress shoes in a formal or a party wear context. What does this refer to? Dress shoes are formal leather shoes that can be worn with a suit. Casual shoes are those that can be worn with many different outfits, including sport coats. Some versions of dress shoes are considered to be casual due to their color, material, or even stitching style. They are considered to be casual because certain societies are more conservative than others. Shoes that are used for sports and athletic activities like walking, running, hiking are called athletic shoes. Running shoes, baseball shoes, tennis shoes are some examples. Now we have seen what classifies as a dress shoe, casual shoe or an athletic shoe. You must have heard various names of footwear, shoes in particular, like Oxfords, Derby, Brogues, Moccasins, Clogs, flip-flops, Mules, and might have wondered, oh my god, what are these? And how can I differentiate between them? Now, together, let us discuss a few of these shoe styles and how you can tell them apart from one another. Oxfords and Derby. Now, you can rarely find a man who wants to be formally dressed and does not own an Oxford or a Derby. So what are they? Oxford shoes are lace-up dress shoes that came into being in the 1840s. Since this is a big category, They can be divided into Ballerinas and Bluchers based on their lacing system. Ballerinas use a closed lacing system and are often simply referred to as Oxfords or cap-toe Oxfords, while Bluchers look dressier and have an open lacing system. Derbies, such as this, are a type of a Blucher. Ballerinas specifically have a V-shaped slit in the vamp where the laces are attached. In derby, the laces are attached to two pieces of leather that are glued or stitched to the vamp. Those who have a wider foot can wear a derby more comfortably than an Oxford. You can see that in this Blucher shoe, the lacing system has been sewn to the sides and the opening here can be adjusted to accommodate a wider foot. This, unfortunately, is not possible in an Oxford. On the other hand, this very same reason gives Oxford shoes a more formal look, and that is why they are the preferred shoes for evening wear. They can be worn along with your black tie attire. Brogues. A lot of people confuse brogues with Oxfords or derby and don't know when to call a shoe what. Now, their confusion is totally valid. Why? A brogue could be an Oxford or a derby. It is basically a shoe that has broguing. Broguing is the ornamentation of the shoe by employing perforations and pinking. The more broguing that is there in a shoe, the less formal it's supposed to be. Originally, these shoes were made from untanned leather. The purpose of these perforations was to allow the water to drain from the shoes. Today, in the market, shoes made up of perforated leather are also available. These perforations are made in the material and they are not supposed to be confused with the perforations that are made on the uppers, that is, broguing. Full brogues or wingtips. These have a pointed cap with extensions called wingtips that extends along both sides of the shoe and ends up near the ball of the foot. When seen from above, the cap is shaped like a W or an M depending on your viewpoint. This particular shoe that I have in hand is all black, but you can see that a lot of wingtips come in a combination of colors or even materials. Most wingtips feature broguing along the edges as well as decorative broguing in the center of the cap, which is called as the medallion. Shoes with broguing but without the medallion are called blind brogues. Spectators are brogues with two different colors on them. You can commonly see spectator brogues being worn by women. Half brogues have a toe cap without extensions or wings. A wing-tip toe cap without any broguing can be called an austerity brogue, even though it technically is not a brogue. The brogues are meant to be men's shoes. They are commonly worn by women. Spectator brogues, like I mentioned before, are considered to be highly fashionable women's shoes. Slip-ons. Slip-ons are considered to be less formal than Oxfords and do not use laces. They can be worn by slipping the foot directly into the shoe. Though they can be worn with a suit, they are best suited for semi-formal attire with trousers and maybe say a sports jacket. Moccasins, monk straps, and tassel loafers are few of the popular variations of slip-on shoes. So what are these variations? Monk strap shoe. This is a laceless dress shoe or a semi-formal shoe that has a strap closure and features one or more buckles. Moccasin. Said to have been invented by Native Americans, a moccasin is a slip-on shoe with visible stitching around the perimeter of the toe box, creating a gathered effect. A non-loafer style moccasin uses a 360-degree lacing system like a boat shoe. Mocks with rubber tabs on the sole are called as driving mocks because they enable better grip on the pedals. Loafer. A low, step-in shoe without shoelaces or buckles is called as a loafer. It may be made by sewing a moccasin upper to a separate sole and a heel. Tassel loafers are those shoes that have tassel hanging from the vamp. Though this is a women's tassel loafer, I would like to use this to show to you what these tassels look like. Some of these shoes might even have fringes on them. Women's wear shoes will have a lot more fringing, longer fringing compared to men's shoes. Mule. A mule is a shoe or a sandal categorized by a closed or say nearly closed toe and a backless heel of any height. Saddle shoes. A saddle shoe utilizes a layer of leather over the instep that is contrasting or in a different color than the rest of the shoes. Boat shoes or topsiders. A boat shoe is a flat shoe designed with a rubber sole that offers good traction on a slippery boat deck or on any slippery surface. It could be made from either leather or canvas. Athletic shoes. Athletic shoes are a category of shoes that comprises of sportswear, activewear and athleisure. There are several types of shoes that are available in this segment. Tennis shoes. A casual, soft sole lace-up shoe that is designed for tennis is referred to as a tennis shoe. It can be made from canvas or leather. Many stylish, fashionable versions of tennis shoes are available in the market for both men and women. Sneakers. A sneaker is a rubber-soled, casual shoe made up of soft, often synthetic materials, and it is used for both casual wear and sporting events. If you recall, I was talking about hybrid shoes in athleisure wear earlier. Shoes such as this that have a traditional look of a velvet shoe combined with elastic that allows for ease of wearing. It covers the ankles and goes over it and has a rubber sole, which could also be a PU molded sole. Crocs. Crocs are soft, comfortable shoes made up of cross-lined resin. They are available in bright colors and can be easily distinguished by the holes on the upper. Though typically men's shoes, they can be worn by both women as well as kids. Shoes that can be worn by both men and women. Boots. Footwear which covers the entire foot and extends to the height of the ankle bone, thigh, even the knee or even above the knee is called boots. while work boots are strong enough to withstand the necessities of everyday wear and tear. Hiking boots are designed to support the ankles and provide cushioning and protect the wearer from elements while still being light. Combat boots are multi-purpose boots originally designed for use by the military, but today they are a fashion staple, especially for women. Chelsea boots are ankle-length shoes that have rounded toes and low heels. You may also find boots such as this in the market. This is a variation that has a double collar. It can be worn as an ankle-length boot or longer. You will notice that in boots such as this, the tongue is much longer than your average shoe. This is to ensure protection for the top of your foot when you wear boots such as these. Women's boots may also have fringes or tassels in addition to all the other embellishments that is there in men's boots. You might even see a stone buckle or other rhinestone embellishments. You will also see fancy buckles such as this, along with a lot of decorative straps. Booties resemble boots in style, but do not necessarily have a shaft and are typically worn by women. Now, let me ask you this. What are the other types of footwear that you have seen both men and women wear? Yes, you are right, flip-flops. Flip-flops. A flip-flop could be a slipper or a sandal, which is held to the foot solely by a strap that runs over from side to side and in between the toes. Classic examples of flip-flops include your Hawaiian slippers. Now, while Oxford, Derby, Moccasins and Loafers are typically men's shoes, shoes such as this can also be worn by women. They would have more styling elements like a different trim or a hardware that could differentiate the shoe as women's wear. Plus, women's wear versions of these shoes are available in a lot more colors and in materials when compared to men's shoes. Women's shoes, unlike men's shoes, are unique in the fact that they can be classified in many different ways. Not only based on the shape or the style, but also based on the heel height. First, let us look at shoes based on their heel height. Now, if I have to ask most women, which was the shoe that they covet? They would most probably say a stiletto. Now, what is the stiletto? Named after the stiletto dagger, a stiletto heel is a long, thin, high heel found on women's shoes. It is a very thin, high heel shoe where the heel tapers to a point when it comes into contact with the ground. Contrary to popular belief, a stiletto need not necessarily be a high heel. Stiletto heels would range even from 2 inches and go on to 6 or 6.5 inches. Several designers have made stilettos that are 7 inches and taller. Though it is absolutely impossible to walk in these shoes, they provide for a great photo op. Wedge. A wedge shoe typically has a triangular or a wedge-shaped heel that runs along the entire length of the foot. Sometimes it may be marginalized only to the ball of the foot portion. Certain shoes could also have a hidden wedge, where the wedge-shaped heel is hidden inside a boot or a shoe. Platform heel. A high heel shoe with a thick sole under the front part of the foot to balance the heel at the back is called as a platform heel. It is almost as if the wearer is standing on a platform. Both wedges and platform heels provide height to the wearer along with comfort. These are great for women who want to increase their height and alter their posture without having to walk on stiletto thin heels. Talking about extremely thin heels, I have to introduce you to shoes known as the extreme ballerina. Now recollect the image of a ballerina standing on her toes. What if a shoe could make you look like that? This is exactly the thought that is behind the extreme ballerina. These are ballet shoes with a thin high heel that mimics the ballerina's dance move and posture. Extreme ballerinas in leather combined with boots are a fetish staple. Kitten heel. Heels that taper and are between 1 to 2 inches in height are known as kitten heels. The shape of this heel looks like a kitten's ears and hence the name. Kitten heels can be found on slip-on shoes, cut shoes and even pumps. Flats. Flats are shoes, sandals or slippers that do not have any heel height. Sometimes those that have a heel height up to an inch, say maybe around half an inch, can also be colloquially referred to as flats. Pump. Also known as a court shoe. A pump is a low-cut, closed shoe without any fastening. The heel height can vary, so does the heel shape. It can be anything from a kitten heel to a stiletto, and it can range from 1 inches to 6 inches in length. In India, flat pumps are often referred to as cut shoes. Peep toe. A shoe with a narrow opening in the front that exposes the toes are known as peep toes. These shoes are ideal for women who have broad feet or where the toe portion is slightly wider than the middle of the foot. This gives them comfort as opposed to a completely closed shoe. Also, this is an opportunity to show off freshly painted nails. Mary Jane. A shoe with a strap across the instep is known as a Mary Jane. This shoe needs to be fastened. The straps can commonly be attached with elastic, velcro or buckle. In India, Mary Jane black shoes are commonly worn as school shoes. Ballet flats. Now, these are your opposite of your extreme ballerinas. A ballet shoe is a soft, slipper-like closed shoe with no heel height. It is similar to the shoes worn by ballet dancers, but not that flexible. Espadrille. A shoe or a sandal that has a woven rope or a similar material, probably a natural material, covering the wedge or a sole is known as an espadrille. A lace-up refers to any shoe where a string can be threaded through the eyelets of the shoe and can be used for fastening the shoe. Sometimes lace-ups are sandals and have an open toe and or an open back. Lace-ups can also be added to other ankle-length shoes. There are many lace-ups that are available in the market, where the lacing does not stop at the ankle, but goes up to the mid-calf. Slingback. A backless shoe that is held in place with a strap at the back of the foot is known as a slingback. This strap is typically elastic or sometimes has a buckle for adjustment. Now, this is a variation of a slingback because it does not have a heel. Clog. A clog is a shoe with a platform heel that features a closed toe and an open back. In the beginning of this module, when talking about categories of footwear, I talked about what sandals wear. In the women's wear segment, sandals is almost like an umbrella term. It could be any open shoe that comprises of multiple straps that secure the foot to the sole. A sandal such as this has been cushioned for comfort and can also be deemed as a walking sandal. Thong. A sandal where a strap passes between the big toe and the second toe with a V-strap or just a strap that keeps the foot in place is known as a thong. Gladiators. Gladiators are a form of lace-up sandals. These mimic the kind of sandals that were once worn by Roman gladiators. Now, gladiators could reach up only till the ankles or even go up to mid-calf, just like your lace-up sandals. A T-strap is a shoe featuring a vertical strap running from the toe or the vamp, which is connected to the horizontal strap running across the ankle. Both the straps join to create a T shape. Slide sandal. A slide sandal is an open-toe, backless, slip-on sandal featuring a strap or straps at the center top. Now, this slip-on or a slipper is a variation of a slide sandal. A slide sandal typically has only one strap here or just one toe holder. This is a variation that has multiple straps to keep the leg in place. There is another category of slippers in India which you would normally not find in Western countries. That is your party wear slipper. A party wear slipper is a more embellished version of a slipper. It could be made of metallic leather or non-leather materials and usually has an embellishment in the front. A slipper such as this typically comes with a V-strap or several multiple straps that cover the leg. They can also be slide sandals that have rhinestones on them. Slippers such as this also come under the ethnic to party wear category, which can be worn with ethnic attire such as salwar suits and saris. When I was discussing the types of shoes, I merely spoke about sneakers, sports shoes, athletic shoes in the passing. And you might have wondered, how is this possible? There is a whole world of athletic shoes out there. I like to call this the world of sneakers. Now, let me offer you a sneak peek into this fascinating world of various brands, their history, and yes, the iconic styles that we've all come to love. Before I proceed, let me give you a small introduction about the sneaker culture. A sneaker, which was once an odd-looking white shoe, probably a canvas shoe, is now a fashion icon by itself. Thousands of hypebeasts stand in queues for hours or do advance booking over a period of years even to purchase the latest pair. Limited edition sneakers or prototypes of new releases, referred to as quick strikes, generate a lot of craze. Some of these people don't even wear these shoes. They simply buy for the purpose of collecting them. Some of these shoes are created as an ode to successful athletes, particularly basketball players, while others are created in collaboration with them. While some are purely functional and highly advanced technologically, a few others are heavily artistic. Now this is what makes a shoe a cult icon. Chuck Taylor is said to be the first shoe named after the said sportsman in the 1920s. The success of such iconic shoes are directly proportional to the success of the player's star power. Be it the Air Jordans, Puma Clyde, or the LeBron James, the sneaker market today rakes in hundreds of billions. So now let us take a look at some of the famous sneaker brands. I know there are a lot more of them, but I would like to talk to you about a few important sneaker brands. Converse. A lot of us unknowingly use the word Converse interchangeably with sneakers. That is how close the association is. Known as one of America's iconic footwear companies, Converse, founded in 1908, has been a subsidiary of Nike Inc. since 2003. One Star, Classic Chuck, that is Chuck Taylor All-Star, and special editions like Converse Pride are some of the style ranges of Converse. Converse shoes can be easily identified by their star insignia and the smooth rounded toe. Nike. Said to be the world's largest supplier of athletic shoes and apparel, Nike originated as the Blue Ribbon Sports in the year 1964. The brand can be recognized by its uber-famous swoosh logo and the Just Do It tagline. In 1987, Nike launched its Air Max shoes and in the subsequent years added Air Huarache, Air Jordan, Nike Cortex, Nike 6.0, NYX, Air Zoom shoes and Air Jordan X63 to the mix. Nike's Air Easy with Kanye West is said to be the brand's first non-athletic collaboration shoe. Nike at the present includes brands like Nike, Converse, Hurley and Jordan. Adidas. How can I talk about athletic sportswear shoes without talking about Adidas? In 1924, Rudolph and Adi Dassler embarked on a mission to provide athletes with the best possible equipment with their company. In the year 1949, Adi Dassler or Adolf Dassler registered the company Adi Dassler Adidas Sports Shoe Fabric, which included the registration of the famous Adidas three stripes. Since 1972, the trefoil logo can be seen both on their apparel as well as accessories. The micropacer of the 80s is said to be one of the precursors of wearable fashion that provided performance statistics to the wearers. Over the years, they have launched innovations such as Climacool, Adizero, and partnered with designers like Yohji Yamamoto and Stella McCartney. Puma. In the year 1948, Rudolf Dassler and Adi Dassler split their company. Rudolf registered Puma shoe fabric Rudolf Dassler and launched Atom, their first football boot. Super Atom, with screw-in studs, and Brazil, its enhanced version, soon became super hits. In the 1960s, Puma became the first sports shoe manufacturer to use a vulcanization production technique whereby the sole and the shaft of the boot are bonded. 1973 marked the birth of the famous Puma Clydes, and the late 90s and early 2000s, the Speed Cat. The 2014 Evo Power enhances a player's natural kicking ability during a football game, making it a fan favorite. The next brand that we are going to discuss is Reebok. Started as J.W. Foster and Sons in the year 1895 by Joseph William Foster. The brand was rechristened Reebok in 1952 by his grandsons Joe and Jeff Foster. They collaborated with American businessman Paul Fireman to set up Reebok US Limited. Their freestyle trainer, which was the first athletic shoe designed for women, was launched in 1982. Later, they rebranded themselves as a performance brand from the original aerobic fitness brand by collaborating with icons such as Shaquille O'Neal, Eli and Peyton Manning, and then later Venus Williams. Reebok became a part of Adidas in 2005. Vans. In 1966, the Van Doren Rubber Company was formed by brothers Paul Van Doren and Jim Van Doren, along with partners Gordon Lee and Serge Zelia, who manufactured shoes and sold them directly to the public. The waffle-like shoes that stick well and the customized uppers that had a rugged look made them instant skater favorites. The 1970s saw the Vans 95 era with its padded collar and different color combinations, and the Vans 36 Old School with the leather panels and its iconic jazz stripe. It was followed by again the iconic checkerboard slip-ons that now rules the roost when it comes to super cool shoes even today. Now that we have seen a bit about the evolution of footwear and the types of shoes that are available in the market, it's time to turn our attention to some iconic shoe brands and designers. I would like to now introduce to you a few select shoe designers that create fabulous women's wear shoes, and yes, they do offer menswear collections too. While every little girl, or let's say most girls, wish for Cinderella's glass slipper, there are designers and brands who conjure up more wearable and high fashion versions that will even make Cinderella drool. Here is a list of some of the greatest women's wear shoe brands and designers that you must know about. Salvatore Ferragamo. Salvatore Ferragamo began his shoemaking journey at the Hollywood boot shop in USA, where he worked with his brothers. In the year 1938, this Italian designer patented the cork wedge heel, revolutionizing the shoe industry, when he created the famous rainbow sandal for Judy Garland. He then created the invisible sandal, where a continuous length of nylon monofilament passes back and forth through the holes in the insole to create the upper. After his death in 1960, the company, run by his wife and children, diversified into bags, men's shoes, clothing, jewelry, and even watches. Jimmy Choo. Jimmy Choo is a Malaysian designer who is based in UK. He learned the art of shoemaking from his father as a child before he moved to UK for his studies. He opened his first shop in 1986 and his shoes were popularized during the 1988 London Fashion Week. A subsequent feature in Vogue and patronage from Princess Diana catapulted his popularity. In 1996, he founded Jimmy Choo Limited with the then Vogue accessories editor Tamara Mellon. From Kate Middleton and Michelle Obama to Beyoncé and Meryl Streep, their shoes have been worn by royalty and celebrities across the world. Christian Louboutin. A high school dropout at 12, Louboutin had a colorful past. He started sketching shoes in his teens while working in movies and in helping out in backstage operations of cabaret shows. His sojourns in Egypt and India helped him craft a portfolio that landed him a job at Charles Jourdan and then later Roger Vivier. He then designed for Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, Maud Fruzon before setting up his company in 1991. While Louboutin makes pumps, flats, boat shoes and even sneakers, they are well known for their stilettos. His evening wear shoes in satin or patent leather with jewel straps, bows and yes, the trademark red soles are one of the most coveted products in the world. His Piguel and Decollete, iconic red sole shoes, are absolute classics. In 2017, he collaborated with designer Sabyasachi Mukherjee to create an India-inspired collection using our heritage fabrics. Manolo Blahnik. Born to a Spanish mother and a Czech father, Manolo Blahnik originally wanted to become a set designer. Influenced by the words of Diana Vreeland, the then editor-in-chief of American Vogue, he became a shoe designer. Manolo Blahnik pumps are considered to be the best bridal shoes in America, as popularized by numerous movies and TV shows, from Sex and the City to Twilight Sagas. He has won 3 CFDA awards, 3 British Fashion Council awards, and 2 from the King of Spain for his exemplary design work. Apart from his world-famous women's shoes, he also designed shoes for men apart from bags and belts. Stuart Weitzman. Stuart A. Weitzman is an American shoe designer known for providing one-of-a-kind million-dollar shoes to Oscar nominees to wear at the Academy Awards. His shoes are considered to be the most expensive shoes in the world. His $3 million chocolate brown Rita Hayworth heels, his $2 million tanzanite heels which are studded with tanzanite gems and diamonds, and his $1.9 million platinum gilt shoes top the list. We have so far looked at various styles of shoes and even talked about a few iconic shoe designers. Until now, in this module, we have considered the different types of shoes and iconic shoes and their designers. But as a wearer, as a user, you might have a question. How do I know which is the right shoe for me? How do I select the right shoe, or the right brand, or the right material for that matter? This section right here hopefully will offer you a little insight. Selecting the right shoe. With a plethora of shoes available in the market, selecting the right shoe is a hard job indeed. But the good news is that this variety gives you the opportunity to pick just the right pair for the job. Many of us think that all sports shoes are the same, or all party wear shoes look alike. You cannot be farther from the truth. Sports and activewear shoes today are specifically created for a particular activity. For instance, walking shoes are stiffer than running shoes. Hiking and trekking shoes must provide support not just for your arches, but for your upper foot and your ankle as well. Shoes for use in snow and rain should at least be water repellent, if not waterproof, and must have anti-slip soles. While picking up a shoe, any shoe for that matter, consider the amount of time that you will spend walking or standing in them. The longer this duration is, the more comfortable a shoe must be. While comfort is paramount, it is not something you can look specifically for in an evening wear shoe, say like spiky satin pumps or 6-inch stiletto heels. Women can use shoes to add color and sparkle to their ensemble, while rhinestones and maybe any bling should be reserved for party wear. The elegant shine of satin or the gloss of patent leather can take you easily from night to day. For both men and women, formal shoes in black is a must-have. While men can choose between an Oxford or a Derby, women can opt between pumps or peep toes. The other colors that men could have are tan and brown, while women can look at nude, red and metallic to begin their shoe journey. Those women who have wider feet and do not want to conform their shoes in a closed toe end can easily opt for dressy sandals. While sandals are considered appropriate in most evening wear and party wear settings, it might be considered casual in a certain official setting. Regardless of whichever shoe that you choose, whichever style, designer, brand or say material, choose one that is absolutely the best quality your money can buy for that particular range. This is especially true for everyday wear shoes. They are as important as clothing, if not more, for they tend to accompany and support us every single day. Activity time. Yes, it's time to go back to your learning diary. It's also time that you take a market visit, a field study, to visit the stores of your most favorite shoe brands. Try them on. See what you like about them. Collect images of shoes, the styles and the materials from the internet. Use magazines if you have access to them. Create a scrapbook of these styles. See if you can identify those styles from the input given in this module. Write them down. I also want you to take a look at the designer websites that are mentioned at the end of this module. Take some time to read about their history and evolution and how they have been inspired to create their fabulous collections. Also, make a note of what the upcoming trends are in the shoe segment. Conclusion. With this, we come to the end of this module. To give you a summary, in this module, we elaborated upon the components of a shoe, along with its history and evolution. We listed out various styles of shoes that both men and women wear, and the materials that they could be made of. We discussed the world of sneakers and considered some iconic women's wear shoe designers along the way. Shoes, just like bags, is an exhaustive subject. There are a plethora of brands, styles, materials, options available in the market, making it impossible for me to cover all of those in this module. I sincerely recommend that you read further on this topic to expand your knowledge. With this module, we come to the end of this unit. In this unit, we have looked at accessories that are worn on the body or carried on the hands. We have discussed small soft accessories, watches, bags and shoes. With this, we come to the end of the accessory section of this course. The next unit will be all about the world of jewelry.